You already built a 6-month emergency fund years earlier than you thought possible. Yet you're standing in line at Target, holding paper towels while the checkout lane curls past bright seasonal displays that quietly beg for one more purchase. Nobody notices. Why would they? Your clothes are ordinary. Your basket is forgettable. Your phone stays in your pocket. You don't calculate, hesitate, or negotiate with yourself. You simply keep walking. A few years ago, this exact aisle felt dangerous. Every shelf whispered, every discount felt personal, and every unexpected purchase quietly followed you home. The stress never arrived at once. It collected, receipt by receipt, until payday somehow disappeared before the month ended. Now the temptation feels strangely smaller. Not because the displays changed, not because your salary exploded, because something inside you changed first, and almost nobody saw it happen. That invisible shift became the quiet beginning of everything that followed. The real story isn't about earning more, it's about finally keeping what was already yours. Some people chase bigger paychecks before fixing smaller habits. You accidentally reverse the order. That simple decision would quietly erase anxiety long before anyone else noticed the balance growing instead of shrinking. Daily. You leave Target with nothing except paper towels and an unfamiliar feeling. For the first time, buying less feels like winning. It seems too small to matter. $18 stays in your account. Tomorrow another 18. The day after, another. Nothing dramatic happens. Nobody congratulates you. There is no spreadsheet celebration. Instead, you notice something strange. Your checking balance stops surprising you. It stays higher than expected. Bills arrive, payments clear, and the number refuses to collapse. Every morning you glance at the app before work. The money remains. That quiet consistency feels oddly comforting. At work, coworkers wander toward the cafe downstairs. Someone grabs another flavored drink. Someone else finds a desk gadget. Another person orders something online before lunch. The purchases look harmless because each one is harmless alone. You realize your own habit worked exactly the same way. One unnecessary reward never looked expensive. Hundreds of tiny rewards quietly became a lifestyle. You begin running simple math while waiting for elevators, microwaves, and traffic lights. $18 each workday becomes $90 every week. Roughly $500 survives a month instead of disappearing. You did not discover hidden income. You simply stopped volunteering to lose it. The surprising part is not the amount, it is the feeling. Watching your balance survive Friday becomes more satisfying than opening another shopping bag. The pleasure arrives later, but it lasts longer. Every skipped purchase becomes evidence that you are changing. Soon the temptation itself changes. You still notice colorful displays and limited-time offers. You still feel the familiar pull. The difference is that you finally recognize the conversation happening inside your head. The item promises relief, excitement, or reward. Your account quietly promises stability. For years you always believed the louder voice. Now you start trusting the quieter one. Weeks pass. More than $500 remains where it once vanished. You stop checking because you are worried. You start checking because you are curious. How long can this continue? The answer surprises you, much longer than any impulse ever did. Then one afternoon you compare bank statements. The pattern becomes impossible to ignore. Almost every impulse purchase happened after stress, boredom, or convenience. Very few happened because you genuinely needed anything. That realization changes the game. You stop asking, "Can I afford this?" You start asking, "What feeling am I trying to buy?" Sometimes the answer is comfort. Sometimes it is distraction. Sometimes it is simple habit. Once you recognize the pattern, resisting becomes easier. Not effortless, just understandable. Each ordinary decision quietly reinforces the next. Confidence grows without applause. Discipline becomes less about willpower and more about awareness. Your paycheck finally starts staying. Not because more arrives, but because less escapes. That single shift quietly lays the foundation for every calmer month, every unexpected expense, every future opportunity, and every peaceful night's sleep. Without noticing, you begin collecting security instead of souvenirs. Quietly, repeatedly, patiently, one ordinary choice after another reshapes your financial future forever from within. You begin noticing another kind of shopper, not inside Target alone, but everywhere your phone follows you. Every scroll reveals someone celebrating another haul. Shopping carts overflow. Delivery boxes stack beside front doors. Excited voices call it self-care, productivity, or a well-deserved reward. Every purchase becomes content. Every receipt becomes proof that life is improving. He smiles into the camera while tearing open another package. Tomorrow another arrives. Next week even more. Comments cheer him on. Links fill the description. Spending becomes entertainment, and entertainment becomes income. From the outside, it looks like success. You almost envy the confidence. Almost. Then you remember how your own apartment once filled with things you barely remembered buying. Drawers crowded with forgotten gadgets. Closets packed with clothes carrying tags. Cabinets hiding duplicate supplies. None of it made payday feel safer. The difference isn't income. It isn't intelligence. It is direction. One person spends to create an image. The other protects a future nobody can see. You stop measuring wealth by deliveries, upgrades, or applause. Instead, you measure something invisible. How many ordinary problems can your existing savings solve without panic? That question never appears in a viral video, yet it quietly changes everything. The haul creator wakes needing another post, another purchase, another reason for people to watch. You wake needing nothing. That difference feels boring until life becomes difficult. A car battery dies. A prescription costs more than expected. Work slows for a week. The haul creator reaches for another credit card because appearances cannot pay unexpected bills. You reach for money already waiting. Nobody applauds the moment. Nobody even knows it happened. Quiet preparation rarely earns attention because its greatest achievement is making emergencies look ordinary. You realize that real confidence is almost invisible. It is declining invitations without guilt because your priorities are clear. It is ignoring limited time offers because time has stopped controlling your decisions. It is leaving stores with exactly what you plan to buy. Nothing extra, nothing emotional, nothing borrowed from tomorrow. Friends occasionally laugh about your simple habits. They joke that you always leave empty-handed. You smile because explaining would sound defensive. They see restraint. You feel relief. They count shopping bags. You count peaceful mornings. The strange part is that your world does not become smaller. It becomes lighter. Fewer objects demand attention. Fewer subscriptions quietly drain your account. Fewer regrets follow you home. The space created by buying less slowly fills with something advertisements never promise. Calm. Not a bigger paycheck. Not a lucky investment. Not perfect discipline. Just repeated moments when you quietly choose tomorrow over today. That quiet choice becomes armor no camera can capture, no algorithm can reward, and no stranger can truly understand. While everyone else searches for the next exciting purchase, you begin searching for the next unnecessary temptation to quietly decline. Each refusal strengthens a habit. Each habit strengthens your future. Eventually, the invisible victories become impossible for your own mind to ignore forever, without needing anyone's approval. The hardest part is not saying no to stores anymore. The hardest part is saying nothing to people you love. One Saturday afternoon, your older brother calls. He wants to meet for lunch at the same neighborhood restaurant where your family has celebrated birthdays for years. Nothing feels unusual. You order the same meal you always order. He laughs about work, complains about rising prices, and jokes that nobody can get ahead anymore. You nod because you remember exactly what that feeling was like. Halfway through the conversation, he leans back in his chair and sighs. His car needs repairs. The credit card balance keeps growing. Every paycheck disappears within days. He says he wishes someone would invent a way to make money stop leaking away. You almost tell him, You almost explain that your emergency fund now covers 6 full months of living expenses, that the quiet panic you carried for years has slowly disappeared, that you no longer wake up wondering whether one unexpected bill could undo everything. Instead, you take another bite and stay quiet. Not because you are ashamed, not because you think you are better than him, because you know money changes conversations. The moment people learn you are financially comfortable, every word begins sounding different. Advice feels like judgment. Simplicity sounds like privilege. Silence becomes easier than misunderstanding. As he talks, you notice familiar patterns hiding inside ordinary sentences. He mentions stopping for coffee every morning because work feels exhausting. He laughs about late-night online shopping after stressful days. He shrugs while describing subscriptions he forgot to cancel months ago. None of the purchases sound serious alone. Together they sound painfully familiar. You recognize yourself in every story. For a moment you wonder how many people quietly believe they have an income problem when they are really carrying 1,000 invisible habits. Nobody remembers the individual purchases. Everyone remembers feeling broke. When the bill arrives, your brother reaches for his wallet with a tired expression. You quietly pay before he can object. He thanks you with an embarrassed smile and promises to cover the next meal. You simply nod. Driving home, you realize the emergency fund did something unexpected. It protected more than your finances. It changed your emotions. Problems no longer arrive wearing the same weight. A repair is a repair. A medical bill is a medical bill. They are inconveniences now, not personal crises. That invisible difference is difficult to explain because it cannot be photographed. Nobody sees lower stress. Nobody notices peaceful sleep. Nobody compliments a checking account that quietly survives another month untouched. The greatest reward was never the number itself. It was the silence inside your own mind. The constant calculations disappear. The quiet fear fades. Payday stops feeling like rescue and starts feeling ordinary. You finally understand that financial security is not loud enough to impress strangers, but it is powerful enough to transform the conversations you have with yourself every single day thereafter. Months pass, then years. One ordinary evening you open your banking app while waiting for water to boil. There it is. 6 months of living expenses. Quietly waiting. No fireworks. No celebration. No dramatic screenshot sent to friends. Just a number that once felt impossible sitting calmly on a screen before you lock your phone again. Nothing outside your apartment changes. You still shop with a list. You still compare prices. You still walk past displays that promise instant happiness. Your paycheck arrives exactly the way it always has. The difference is that it finally has somewhere to stay. You notice the change in smaller moments instead. Your car makes an unfamiliar noise, and your heart does not race. An unexpected expense appears, and you solve it without rehearsing worst-case scenarios. Work becomes frustrating, but no longer terrifying. You are no longer trapped by the fear that every inconvenience could become a financial disaster. People keep chasing bigger salaries, bigger houses, bigger lifestyles. Some find them, some never do. Yet many carry the same quiet anxiety they had before, because more income cannot protect money that never stays. You think back to the Target checkout line, the paper towels, the seasonal displays, the version of yourself who believed freedom would arrive with another raise instead of another decision. Looking back, the emergency fund was never built by dramatic sacrifices. It was built by hundreds of ordinary moments when you quietly refused to let temporary feelings spend permanent money. Not a miracle, not a secret, not perfect discipline, just awareness. You realize wealth is rarely created during exciting moments. It grows inside forgettable afternoons, routine errands, and tiny decisions nobody else notices. The habits look too small to matter until they quietly became your life. That may be the strangest part of all. The moment you finally feel financially safe is also the moment you stop needing anyone else to know. So the question is not whether you could build 6 months of security without earning another dollar. The real question is this: If the life you want begins with choices so small that nobody notices them, what are you waiting to notice today before another paycheck quietly slips through your hands tomorrow?